after attending surf school in the UK, I booked an airport hotel in London and took a flight early the next morning from London to Amsterdam to visit my brother-in-law and sister-in-law in The Hague.
So my porridge survived the trip from Cornwall. I'm gonna have it for breakfast right now because it's 4:30 and nothing is open yet.
So I bought my ticket from KLM Airlines to fly from London to Amsterdam because it was cheap and it is the Dutch national airline. This is the worst airline I have ever flown on. My first introduction to this airline was when I was checking in. Another passenger had a medical device that the airline was not allowing him to check in. He had a doctor's note, everything. The flight attendants on this flight were all hands down the bitchiest flight attendants I have ever encountered. They were so rude to everyone. I'm not expecting anyone to be friendly or anything like that, but they were just so condescending. They wouldn't let anyone go to the bathroom during the flight because they're Nazis. No, I'm not going to apologize for saying that. They also seem to hate Italians, Indians, and Middle Easterners, especially Muslims. I landed in Amsterdam and had a little mishap with my luggage, so when I tried to get assistance from the airline, of course, their super helpful service desk was like, "Why would you do that?" Anyway, my brother-in-law gave me a tour of The Hague, which is really nice of him, and we went up into this construction tower to see the city, and he just basically gave me the history of everything in The Hague. Then we went to this park in the middle of the city that had some protected deer. Overall, The Hague was a nice, clean city, really good public transportation. Thought it'd be a nice place to live. And then we went to the beach because, of course, I was going to try to fit in surfing in this country I was only going to be in for 2 days. But hey, if there's waves, if there's water, I'm going to try to surf. I didn't do surfing right then, of course. That's later on this vlog. We were still doing the tour. So my brother-in-law really wanted to show me this aquarium, and I love any sort of marine life.
Get on there, come on.
Nah. Guy.
Breeds of otters, maybe?
Oh yeah. No, these are definitely river otters. They're way too small to be sea otters.
Als je hier kan zien, dan kun je ook zo kijken hoe onze Aziatische kleinklauw Otter Milo een lekker hapje krijgt van Theo. Nou, Theo is onze dierverzorger en die zal het voeren doen. Ik zal het vertellen, ik ben Mariker. Mocht je vragen hebben, kun je altijd op het einde van de presentatie nog wat vragen stellen. So also in English for the tourists we have over here to search for it. And after that we go to the penguins. If you have questions, you always can ask me or my colleagues later on. Nou, dit is zoals ik al zei, de oudjes van daar ook. Een klein otter. En het is een van de kleinste otters die dus dat is super handig, zodat je dat de hele isolatiedraad verdwijnt. En dan moet hij dus ook weer opdrogen om weer lekker warm te worden. Anders zou hij onderkoeld kunnen raken. So if you see the otter in the water, then sometimes you see that there is like little bubbles coming off his layers of this skin. And these layers of hair, of course, there is an under and an upper layer. And between these layers there will be some bubbles coming off this layer for the isolation. And that's why extra things to enrich his enclosure. That's why he can always go on adventure in his own. Nou, zoals ik al zei, dit zijn pinguïnverblijven en dit zijn de Humboldt-pinguïns. De Humboldt-pinguïn, zoals de naam het al zegt, vind je bij de Humboldt-stroom. En de Humboldt-stroom stroomt van Antarctica naar Zuid- en Midden-Amerika. Nou, deze pinguïns vind je dus ook bij de golf van Peru. En deze pinguïns houden dus van lekker warm stroomweer. Nou, nu is toevallig het zonnetje gaan staan en daar zitten we niet altijd aan hier in Nederland. Dus we hebben mazzel dat ze er allemaal nu zijn.
We tried to walk up to the front gate of this place and somebody popped out and said, "They are closed to the public." My brother-in-law showed me around on the trains and buses. The Netherlands has some of the most easy to use transportation in the world, but I somehow managed to mess it up when I was by myself later. I found the majority of Dutch people that I had encountered were much like the flight attendants, cold and condescending. Again, I'm not expecting anybody to be bubbly and friendly, but when I would ask for directions, they would just give me a look and turn away from me. They also would not even get near nor associate with any Muslims. It seems to be completely segregated there. And so I ended up asking a couple different Muslim women for directions and assistance when I was by myself. The Netherlands really prides itself in being a progressive country, and I really did not think they were in this aspect. In fact, they have a festival where they wear blackface, so that's really not helping their image. It's worth noting, though, I was only there for 2 days and I was only in The Hague. I would like to spend more time in the country, particularly outside of the city, and just get a better feel for how the country is. So I ended up renting a bike, strapping my suitcase to it, and pedaling about 6 miles down this bike trail to this surf shop, rented a board and a wetsuit, which ended up only being a 4-3, so I was really cold during this session. The people at the surf and skate shop were really nice, nicer than the majority of the population. I had seen other surfers out and I thought to myself, these waves look barely surfable, but I'm going to try. A mistake I made was wearing a 4-3 instead of a 5-4 and renting a 7-6 foamy instead of an 8-foot. I think that would have helped slightly, but the waves were still just absolutely horrible. They were pretty weak and then they petered out before ending, and they're really close together. They reminded me of the waves at Assateague Island in Maryland where I used to surf. Just not very powerful.
That counts. That counts. It counts.
So yeah, I finally stood up on a wave and I was so excited. I think I stood up for less than a second, but I was like, I surfed the Netherlands. I mean, barely. I do plan on surfing here again when we come back and visit my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. Hopefully the waves will be better, but the surf instructors at the Women in Waves Surf School in the UK said that the surf in the Netherlands is always terrible. So I guess I'm not hopeful. Also, if you hear screaming in the background, it was these people that were in their swimsuits and jumping into the ocean. It was pretty cold at this time. I can't remember how cold, but maybe in the 40s or 50s Fahrenheit. Apparently, it's some sort of tradition to jump into the ocean in your swimsuit after work, which is kind of similar to the UK. They do it mostly in the mornings, though. They call it wild swimming, and they basically wear like beanies or swim caps with gloves and booties and just regular swimsuits. It's usually women, and they just go into the ocean in the morning to wake themselves up. So I only rented the board for 1 hour, plus it was getting dark and that's when the sharks come out to eat. And it was also really, really cold, so I got out of the water.
GoPro, stop recording.
Afterward, I found a hotel on Google called Ocean House that was in walking distance of the beach and the surf rental place, so I just rolled my little luggage over there and it was a great little spot. I also got some delicious Mexican food. So the Netherlands is famous for its bikes, and they did have these bikes with like huge baskets or buckets on the front where you could put like groceries, children and dogs. Children and dogs here like lived the best life. The next morning, I decided to rent a bike and strap up my luggage again, ride 3 miles to the train station, and catch a train from The Hague to Amsterdam in order to catch my flight.
Put your head through the opening.
For more surfing content, including warm and cold water surfing, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.